Hold on, let me give it like another 5 seconds. All right. I think that should be good. All right, well, welcome everybody, and welcome back to the show. My name is Mitchell, and today I'll be talking about feeling hopeless and unmotivated. And if you were ever feeling this type of feeling, this would be a great place to start. If you're welcome, if you've been used to my work, welcome again. Thank you for stopping by. But yeah, have you guys ever felt a place and time where yesterday was so great or the day before was so great, and now today I don't know what happened. Nothing really went wrong, but I feel unmotivated. I feel like life isn't I feel a little hopeless, and I don't know what that is and where is that. And if you do feel that way sometimes, right here is a good place. But anyways, I do YouTube lives every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And I'm going to go right into my recap episode, which is days when you feel unmotivated, because I have done this before, but I wanted to talk about feeling the sense of hopeless too, as well, because I know I feel that. I feel that sometimes. Thank you, Jolani. Hello. First one here. All right, so let's talk about the recap. When days demand more than you feel like giving, right? Because we all have those days where it's like, goddamn, like I don't have the energy in me. But I know I still have to show up. Because it's not like you could just stop being a dad, you know what I mean? Or whatever occupation or whatever you need to do. You still got to continue doing so. Hi, Sarah. Hello. Darlene, welcome. Oh, Sarah, quick thing. Also, I do TikTok lives, so I don't do IG lives anymore. Every now and then I might pop in, but yeah. So Sarah, if you're there, I welcome you there too. But anyways, let's go back, recap episode. When days demand more than what you feel, right? And we don't always have control over the circumstances of our lives, or what happens to us. We always have control over the meaning that we give into it. Coach Corey Wayne. Sarah, same handle, Mr. Mitchell Tank. So we don't have, so by not, and I talked about this over at TikTok earlier, where not taking things too personal. And a great way to start is think in terms of the other person. Because if you think about it, let's go back to the core, right? Who is the most important person in your life? Yourself. And of course, yeah, maybe if you have kids, okay, your kids too, or your family or friends, right? But at the end of the day, you are most concerned about yourself, right? If you're hungry, you're going to go try to get some food, right? Anyways, you could always give a certain meaning to what happens to you. That's what you can control. You can't control what happens to you. So for example, if you're watching this and your lady or your man gives you a hard time, you can't really do too much about what they're doing. You could suggest different things, but then at the end of the day, it's up to them on how they want it or how they decide on how to approach things, right? And when you no longer want to deal with it anymore, then that's when you could kind of cut things, right? Whether it's your intimate relationship or your job or whatever it is, you always have a choice to walk away from the things that does not bring you a lot of joy and happiness, right? Especially if someone's always trying to beat you down with words. Like, nobody deserves that. Especially if you're not giving them shit. Why should you take their shit? You know what I mean? So, it goes back to you don't lose your shit, but you don't necessarily have to take their shit. All right? So, when you feel fragile and at the worst, that's when things starts to feel like it's testing you. And a lot of it is dependent on your mood, right? You ever notice when you're not in a good mood, every little thing starts to like upset you, right? You wake up and you like cold coffee, right? And then you forgot to put your coffee in the fridge, and you find out that there's no ice, and then you're like, God, I want, it's like, and where's the milk? I don't have enough, right? Like every little thing. But let's just say you're in a good place. You wake up, oh, okay, I don't have cold coffee. It's okay. It's the same as it's you too. Thank you. Yeah. And then I don't have cold coffee, blah, blah, blah. All right, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. You don't take things personal, but then you find a solution. You be like, hey, Mitchell, since you like cold coffee, I do. I like cold coffee. All right, well, why don't you put some more coffees in the fridge before you go to sleep? That way you won't ever have to not have cold coffee. Something as simple as that, right? But that's how you find solutions for yourself. And every time we feel stuck or we feel angry, chances are it's because we're it's not something that we want and we don't know how to control it. And it's usually based off the meaning that we give into that circumstance. So whatever that happened to you, you think it's bad. Things happen to you and not for you. Okay? And when you think things happen to you, you always play this victim role. But when you think about things happening for me, it's like, okay, thank you for this kind of experience. I know it sounds kind of like whatever, but it's, look, things happen for me. Okay, I want cold coffee. I just got to prep up for it. Okay, it's okay. You could do that next time. You learn. And people would always be more encouraged to be around someone that's like, that doesn't lose their shit, right? Just because it's like, hey, you know what? This didn't go your way. Hi, Ruth. Things didn't go your way, and that's okay because I'm going to find a solution. And plus, ladies, if you're in here and you're watching, do you want a guy that just blows up? No, you don't. And the reason why is because when your guy constantly gets mad or some, whoever you're with, maybe not even your man, maybe it's a family member, whoever it is, it's like you tend to move away from that person. You're not drawn towards that person. So that's why I always encourage people, stop losing your shit. I get it. It's not going your way. But if you don't like it, there's a different way of approaching it. Okay? By changing the meaning. And so, like I said, that's when life starts to test you even more, right? And default by showing up no matter what. Show up. Hi, Tracy. Default by showing up no matter what. And if you don't know where to begin, always start from a happier, better place, at the very least by default, if you're not sure. And the reason why is because positive energies, people could relate to that, right? You ever notice if you walk down the street and you smile to somebody and you don't take it personal, but let's just say that other person smiles back at you, you feel good, they feel good, everyone's having a better day, right? But let's just say you walk down the street and you smile at somebody and they look at you like, why the hell did you smile at me? Don't take it personal. It's okay. Maybe they're dealing with something. Everybody has some things that they're dealing with, but it's up to them. But what you can do is, let's just say you do have whatever interest, maybe in a friendship or maybe something a little bit more, then you can align with that person a little bit better, right? That's how we communicate sometimes, non-verbally at least. Okay, just remind myself. There's always tomorrow. Exactly. There's always tomorrow, right? We're not guaranteed tomorrow, but also it's like, look, I want to make sure that I live the best life that I can. So why would I want to put myself in a situation where I'm constantly going back, whether you call it home or a job or whatever it is, and I feel fucking miserable? I don't want to be in that type of place. Now, you do what you got to do, right? If there's, if you want to start something up for yourself, but you need money, okay, then working at that, but it's not gonna be forever. You're just funding it so that you could survive, so that you could do the things that you love, right? And you got to make a little sacrifices. But then most people, what do? They find this regular job, and then if that's what they want to do, great. And that's your definition of success. This is your dream job, and this is what you want to do. Absolutely, go for it. But most people, they operate from, I don't want to be here. I just work here because I need money. And if I had a choice, I wouldn't be here. That's what's going to be drawing your energy down, right? And it's different areas of your life too. So you got to be careful with that. So anyways, default by showing up in a better mood. I'm in my prime time, so I'm making the best out of it. The best of it now. I need to cover my bucket list. Yeah, what are your bucket lists? That happened to me a lot. I'm like, okay, maybe you're having a bad day. Exactly. And see, you ever notice? Look, Darlene, perfect example. When you're thinking that, okay, maybe that person just had a bad day, it doesn't affect your day. It doesn't. You're like, okay, maybe affect you a little bit. You're like, oh, that didn't feel great, but it's okay. Maybe they're just having a bad day. It's all right. It's all right. So you move on that day, not taking it personal, and you get to continue on. You're just trying to share what you liked, or maybe a smile, or whatever, right? and it doesn't affect you. And also, it makes you a little bit more empathetic as a person too, as well, because you're thinking about the other person. So when you communicate with somebody and they want to communicate with you, and they're like, "Oh wow, like this person understands me," and then you're coming from a good place already, right? You're already setting yourself up for a better future. Um, Now the thing is, I do want to say is the bullshit never stops. It never stops. Okay. Um, you handle things better some days, others not so much, and it's okay, right? But showing up every time with the best attitude, that's how you build consistency. That's how you build confidence, right? Taking action, confident breeds confidence and courage. No action, you know, you get a lot of fear. You get a lot of doubt. Like, I'm not good at it. Why would I want to continue doing this? It sucks. I shouldn't even begin. And that's why Tony Robbins. What we can do is amazing, but what we will do is disappointing. So successful people show up despite outside or inner voices from other your voice or other people's voice. Most people, that's how they show up, and depending on how you show up, that is what matters most. And then some of you guys already got my snippet over at TikTok already, but I'll go through it over here on how to change your physiology into getting different results for yourself. All right. So let's move on to the meat of the episode, which is the first slide, aligning yourself. Okay. Aligning yourself. So start by asking yourself quality questions, because we all know the quality of the questions is, the quality of life is in direct proportion to the quality of the questions you consistently ask yourself. Okay. Now I get it. People say there's no such thing as a dumb question, but there's also something of, you could ask yourself good questions, and you could ask yourself questions that kind of doesn't really matter as much. It doesn't mean it's a dumb question. There's a quality in it. Okay. So you want to ask yourself quality questions. So by aligning yourself, you want to start, and this is, I know the military does this. I do this too. I like to fix my bed every time I wake up. And the reason why is because if I don't, it always draws me back to how I got up that morning. And I'm like, Mitchell, you couldn't even fix your bed. What makes you think you could fix the world? Start with that. Start by fixing your bed. All right. I was like, all right, shit, I didn't fix my bed that day. All right. And it happens. It happens. I'm human, right? But I try to remain as consistent as possible. Okay. So what is it that you're feeling hopeless about, right? Because that's the topic. What is it? So you want to ask yourself, if you're feeling sad, why are you feeling sad? What is bothering you? What is pulling you back? What is resisting you from moving forward this day as opposed to yesterday? Because yesterday you didn't feel like that. Today I do. Why? And then you want to follow that trail of why and start asking yourself these type of questions, because the quality of the question, right? So what is it that you're feeling hopeless about? For example, if you feel like you can't ever find a good partner or this person in your life, a great question to ask yourself is, what is it that you are not doing? What is it that you're not doing? Okay. So I know some people like to be homebodies. I'm a homebody myself. But if I want a partner, or if I want someone in my life, and I don't want to use an app, what does it mean? It means I have to put myself out there. It means I have to go out there. As simple as it is. Yeah, you got to go out there. But out there is scary. Well, you got to be able to break out of that comfort zone. Keep doing it. You're gonna fail. Okay. I'm here to tell you, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna stutter. You're gonna say something stupid. You ever said something stupid to people? I said this all the time. All right. Hey, how you doing? Good, you. And I'd be like, good, you. And I was like, why did I say that? You did that ever happen to you guys? I know it has. Okay, because that's our default, or at least some of us. Good. Hey, yo, how's it doing? Good, you. Good, you. All right. My bad. Like, if I catch myself saying that, I'd be like, did I really just ask twice? Okay, it has. All right. I'm not myself right now. I don't know what is it. But yeah. So, yeah, it's fucking it's embarrassing, but it has, and it's okay, right? Ruby says, same homebody always end up going out with coworkers, right? But sometimes you gotta be able to explore, like, if there is, what is it that you're not doing? Okay. And it's maybe not just putting yourself out there, right? Putting yourself out there, I think that's the easy part. The more difficult part is, are you becoming the person you want to attract in your life? Who are you? What do you want? What do you value? Do you have those values? I get it. You want someone that's very trusting, that's loyal. Where are you loyal? Okay? And look, a lot of people done a lot of things that they're not proud of in the past, but it doesn't mean necessarily that it has to stay with you if you decide that you want to change. But then when you decide that, you got to stick with it. You got to be consistent. You got to resist temptation, whatever it is. You got to be that person. How can you expect someone to not cheat on you if you, just because something doesn't go your way, I'm just going to go talk to somebody else? You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people, they do that, especially in this world. They think it's so normal. So they condition to think, hey, you know what? My boyfriend ain't talking to me, or my girlfriend, I don't even know. She don't pick up the phone when I call her sometimes. So I'm just going to do this when, you know what? The next time she don't pick up her phone, I'm just going to call this other chick because she's going to give me more attention. Right. It's like, I see that a lot, and I'm like, yo, okay, if attention's what you're not having, okay, especially from your girl, have you communicated that? Okay. If you have, and she's still not giving it, then why are you still in it? Then get out. At least you could remain, you could leave proudly with the values that you have, and that's who you are. That's your character. Okay. Now I said character is destiny. So Coach Corey Wayne, thank you for that. But character is destiny. Who you are, who you become, don't break those, because every single time you start breaking those and you go against your values, like cognitive dissonance, you're having conflicting thoughts. What you believe and what you're actually doing is two different things. And if you continue to lie to yourself little at a time, you think, I'm just gonna let that go. It's a white lie, it's fine. Well, all these little white lies, I'm gonna tell you this, it starts to add up. And when things don't add up to who you are, you're going to hate yourself. You're gonna feel disappointed. So that's why it's so important to find your truth. What do you value? So find that, okay? So, yeah, the example of I don't have anybody in my life, okay? And what are you not doing, okay? And are you doing anything that's good for you? Are you doing anything that's good for you, okay? Are there certain behaviors that you're confident in, okay? If maybe you're feeling a little hopeless, but then you're thinking like, hey, you know what? I'm not having a good day. I'm feeling a little hopeless. I've been doing this for, I don't know, 3 months, a year, and it feels like nothing is moving and nothing really changed. Well, look at all the accomplishments that you have. What have changed? And also look at the things that you are actually good at. Does that affect that area? So technically, it's not that you're feeling hopeless. You're just feeling some sort of emotion because you're thinking too much far advanced into the future. So look, a lot of people, we think that we feel hopeless because we think too much into the future, and then that's where anxiety builds. Oh, I'm never going to be here, so let me just go to somewhere safe. Let me go somewhere safe. But going somewhere safe, you're still gonna run against yourself. Wherever you go, there you are. Especially if you haven't done anything. And so that's why I always encourage people, look, hey, maybe I get it, you got a full-time job, and when you get home, I know you're a little tired, but what's something that drives you? What drives you? So that it doesn't only land on, I can't wait to do it on a weekend. You know what I mean? What drives you so that you could always follow back up to it? Maybe spend 30 minutes a day doing it. Maybe it's a skill that you want to learn, whether it's dancing or singing or whatever. Spend time on that. And then think about it. If you spend an hour a day for 5 days, right? In a month, that's about 20 hours, right? 20 hours. 20 times 12, okay? That's 240 extra hours that most people do not spend their time doing anything. Because what? Those hours or whatever could easily be spent on watching a movie or whatever. So allow yourself, give yourself time. Just know that it's going to take time, especially when you're not good at something, okay? And also not letting that hopelessness of whatever feeling that you're having hijack who you really are. Just because you feel that, it doesn't mean that's who you are. You failed at one thing, you're not a failure. Sometimes when we feel hopeless in one area, it permeates. And so that's why you really want to be careful with that. Pause it right there, right? If you're not good in a relationship, it doesn't mean you're bad in your careers, right? So that's an example, right? Narrow it down to why you feel hopeless in that area. Why is it? Hello, Shevlin. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Welcome. All right. All right. Let's see. So, um, okay. So think back to a time where you felt hopeless. Did things change? Whether maybe you ever notice, like, especially this, when you lose, maybe you lose a job, you feel like you're unworthy, or you feel, or someone breaks up with you, or a relationship ends, and you feel like you're the worst person in the world. No one would ever love you. You're not worthy of love anymore. It's like, it's easy to get stuck in that mindset, and it's because of how you currently feel. It doesn't mean that's who you are, right? And the question that I would like you to ask yourself every time you do feel like you're a little bit hopeless, or you feel like you're kind of unmotivated, like, what's the point, is, are you predicting future feelings or moods or whatever you're feeling currently? Are you predicting future emotions to how you feel right now? Are you predicting that? Is that who you are? Just because you failed once, are you a failure in the future? You know what I mean? So it always then, because when you can ask yourself that question, if you constantly ask yourself, like, because if someone tells you you have blue hair, or I'm sorry, you have rainbow, you have rainbow hair, right? And every single time you keep coming in and you're like, hey, what's up, rainbow hair, or whatever it is, then and if your identity to yourself is not strong enough, then eventually you're gonna start believing in it, right? So if you think about it, if I always call you selfish, right? And the reason why you don't like that is because maybe deep down you are. If you think you are selfish, even just that 1%, and I'd be like, hey, yo, selfish is coming in. Yo, what's up, selfish, right? And it's only because of that one time you said, no, I don't want to share my bag of Cheetos with you, and I took it very personal, right? And then you're like, hey, what's up, selfish? And it's like, and then it starts to get to you, and guess what? Somewhere deep down, deeper into the mind, it's affecting you, because part of it is you believe in that. And when you start believing in that, and it starts to grow kind of like this bacteria, and it gets worse and worse, a lot of people get stuck in that. All right. So don't let your current moods predict your future. Okay. Become more aware of your current present moment. Okay. So what I mean by that is, hey, look, if you're feeling a little hopeless, whatever, go do something. Do something else. Whether it's listening to music, drawing, dancing, playing some video games, reading, watching Netflix, whatever it is, enjoy that. Enjoy whatever you're doing. Be present in that moment of whatever you're doing. And then as you're doing that, I'm not saying distract yourself, but what I am saying is I don't want you guys to get hijacked by your current feeling of hopelessness, or feeling so unmotivated that this is my life now. Because days when I don't feel like that, I ask myself questions like, is this, and I get it, because I do get sucked into it, but I have to get myself out of it, and I can't depend on somebody to pull me out of it. But it's great if I do have friends, but I don't depend on them. You know what I mean? All right. But I talked about changing your physiology earlier, but here I am talking about it again, because this is different from TikTok. But changing your physiology, and we produce about 50,000 thoughts a day, and 10,000 of those thoughts are positive, which means about 40,000 of them are negative thoughts. So that book by Chris Voss, about 75% is negative thoughts, and part of that is because we're so conditioned from way back then, where we just trying to survive. We're trying to not get eaten. Okay, we're just humans, which we're trying not to get eaten. So then we always like, hey, you gotta be careful, you gotta be safe, right? But then when you play too safe, especially in a world where you want to succeed, you're not gonna be able to push against that. And then if you always be like, oh, why would I invest in this? Because your money, you worked hard for it. Or why would I invest time if it's not going to work out anyways? Most people don't succeed. But then I'm also here to tell you this: success is never crowded along the extra mile. And I didn't hear it by myself. I didn't make this up. A lot of successful people, they think in terms of decades. Okay, so don't think about, oh, I've been doing this for 5 years. That's great. You did it for 5 years. Did you have enthusiasm? Were you always thinking about it? Did you have something that is emotionally compelling. Like for me, I love helping people. I want to make sure that, look, if you're stuck in a situation, let's get you out of it. But I also want you to not be dependent on me. I want you to be able to take these advice, learn from it, grow from that, and then be like, okay, I remember Mitchell said this. So pull yourself out of that situation so that you could so you could start operating in a much better place. But I know that we're going to have much more bad times because of how we're wired in our mind. We're just always trying to run away from trouble. Okay. So if you have 1 in 4 to 5 chances, roughly, right? 4 or 5 chances of happiness, which majority of the time it's considered bad. So it's no wonder that we always get stuck in our own mind and we start believing in the stories because look, majority of the time we always thinking about something that's negative. Like how do you, it's no wonder most people don't succeed. And when they have like little tiny successes, they hold on to those. You know what I mean? But it's about, look, I have this little success. Let's celebrate it. But I'm not gonna stop. And the reason why is because, let's put it like this. If in my future, okay, I want to do something and I become successful at it, as in I'm financially stable, I could do whatever I want, right? Let's just say someone gives me all the money in the world, puts it in my bank account. Will I still be doing this? And the answer is yes. I will still be doing this. Because why? I want to see the world in a much better place. I really do. I want to make sure that there are better people out there, right? Better people, better results. And then obviously you get to, and obviously there's going to be people that's not going to be good for you. So, but you learn to spot them because why? You're here, you get to spot these people. You're like, yeah, Mitchell said something about you guys, you type of people. All right. So, you know, you do your own thing. It's all good. So my goal now is, look, if we are conditioned to think so many negative thoughts, I'm trying to decrease that and increase your chance of being in a much better place. Because if you're in a much better mood, you're going to be operating in a much happier state. And when you're a happier state, you're going to be better company. And when you have better company with a better attitude, you're setting yourself up for success. Because who doesn't want to be around somebody that lifts them up? Because like I said, once we know the psychology of 50,000 thoughts of being, or 50,000 thoughts and only 10,000 of them may be positive, it shows where most people operate from. All right. Now, because our memories and our imaginations tend to always tell us that we're unworthy, how do we change that? By changing our physiology, right? Get up and move with a purpose, move with a focus towards whatever you're doing that day. When you do it, spend 100% on it. What does it mean? It means that, look, if you're doing something, if you're talking to somebody, talk to them. Don't be on your phone. If you're doing something, do that. Don't be on your phone. And the reason why I say that is because this whole multitasking thing, it takes a lot away when you're always like picking up your phone and distracting yourself. And companies like apps and those, they love that because you're constantly going back into it, but it doesn't do you any good. So if you want to be good at one thing, you got to spend time, and you want to decrease the amount of distractions that you have. That's why there will be times where I will talk to people and I will respond quick. It's because I'm on my phone. But then if I'm not, they'll be like, yo, I don't get it. Sometimes you respond right away, and some other times you're like, it takes you like 5, 6, 7 hours. It's like, well, it's because I'm not always on it. And I also turn off a lot of my notifications because it doesn't do me any good. Like, okay, I get it. Thank you for the like, right? But that I shouldn't be distracted with what my focus is based off someone liking my whatever it is, right? So unless it's really important, I'm not gonna really check up on it. You know what I mean? So limit your distractions. Stay focused on what you want to do. Move with purpose, and changing your physiology. So let's see. Being too fixated on a moment of being unmotivated and hopelessness, you start to tell yourself this is the story that you have. A glimpse of that A glimpse of time doesn't define who you are. Okay. What you can do is amazing. What you will do is usually disappointing. So by changing your state, you get a new action. By new action, you get new results. As simple as that. That's as simple as it is. But most people operate from a place of, I don't really want to do anything because I know that if I do something new, it's uncomfortable. I'm gonna fail, and yes, you are going to fail. So what's the point of doing it? And so they start telling themselves these stories. But I'm here to tell you, change your physiology, move, do something, and then you'll be more inclined to be in a different, happier state. And if you're in a happy mood already or whatever, then you're more inclined to do this newer action. Okay, and when you're doing this newer action, you want, you of course, you, who doesn't want to expect the result that they want, but know that you're going to fail. And when you fail, just learn from that mistake so that you can move on. Okay. um and changing your state, most people say, think about happier things. Just be happy. Just be happy. You be good. Hey, yo, stop thinking about that. Have you ever had a friend that just told you to, yo, I don't want you to stop thinking about negative thoughts. Stop. Like, yeah, that's not gonna work. If I think happy thoughts, it's only going to go against what I really truly feel. So you gotta feel it to heal it. So if you're feeling like shit, feel like shit, but you want to ask yourself why you feel like shit. Be in that place. Learn to let go. Letting go does not mean getting rid of, okay? So I want to be clear on that. Letting go means that, look, whatever happened in your past, whatever happened then, it's okay. You're willing to let that go, meaning you're not letting that hijack you. By trying to get rid of it, it's like, for example, there was a time in my life in the past where I wasn't where I was. I wasn't physically where I wanted to be. I wasn't mentally where I wanted to be. And, it's easy for me to be like, you know what? The past Mitchell, I'm so glad that I'm not there anymore. I'm so glad. Like, no, I own that part. That was me. But I needed to understand what type of place that I was in order to be in a better place now. So at least I have something that I could compare myself with in the past. I know my potential and I know I could do more, because by doing so, I was here and now I'm here now. So I know I could move up there. And that's where confidence and courage, right? And it's usually operating from a more collaborative mindset instead of always trying to compete with somebody else. Okay? And so moving on now is, what are you driven by? Okay? Are you driven by desire? Okay? I learned this from Julian, so check him out. If you guys want the link, I'll leave the link for you. But what are you driven by? What are you driven by? Are you driven by desire? Because if you are, which also means that you're driven by lack. Like, I don't have enough. Or the feeling of inadequacy. I don't have enough, so I need more. I don't have a lot of money, so let me work. Let me be this workaholic. You see where I'm coming from? It's because you don't have enough. That's why you're doing it. It's because that source is lack. And so what happens if you don't have a? I'm driven by my age. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? And now, it's all about the place that you're coming from, right? Because if you're feeling like, oh, I'm not enough, I'm not complete, things don't make sense, and I don't feel happy, or I don't feel at ease. I don't feel at ease, right? I don't have enough of what I want, and I want more, kind of like money, right? So I want to learn. And now, if you change that mindset, that how you approach things, of I want to learn more, I want to learn more, I want to be happy with what I got and still like pursue all that I want, right? Then that source that you're coming from, it's not from, you're not driven by lack, you're driven by more of inspiration. And inspiration could propel you two different ways, by motivation and this gravitational pull, right? And I talked about how push and pull, when you're driven by motivation, you only got so much push. And I give you an example of that, very simple example of, my there was a time where I wanted to work out, and I was motivated by how I looked in front of the mirror. And once I achieved it, well, guess what? It was attainable, but it was not sustainable. It wasn't something that I wanted to continue on. And it's because I achieved it. And it's like, okay, I was coming from a different place. Now my mindset, literally just like that little millimeter mind like shift, it caused me to look, I get it, health and how you look will come with it, but what's more important is that when I get older, I want to be able to, if I have kids and they have kids, I want to be able to play with my grandkids and not be this old guy sitting on this chair, not even being able to get up and move, right? I know I'm gonna have a lot of white hair, okay, but oh well, it comes with it, right? It's like wisdom, it's just growing out, but whatever, so that's where, like, I'm driven by that. I want to be able to enjoy life as I get older, which is why health is important, not how I look. Okay. So that source is really important. If you're driven by lack, if you're driven by like okay, so for example, you're driven by your age. Oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, right? Jelani, if you're driven because, oh, I need to find this partner or whatever it is that I'm assuming, okay, so you're talking about age. I want this, I want that, and it's going to come off as very desperate. You're going to give that type of energy. You can't tell, don't worry. I could definitely tell if I have a whole bunch of white hair, but it's all good. That's why we could dye our hair, right? I might have blue hair. I might, I don't know. But really, where does it begin? What's that source? No, not looking for a partner. Okay, maybe something else. Okay, but just remember, if it's coming from the right place, it's my time. I'm motivated by that. Oh, because okay, cool. If you don't mind elaborating a little bit more, Jelani, that I appreciate that too. So that I don't have to assume. I don't want to keep playing that assumption game. So the source, okay? Anything that you're running away from and you're moving towards something should be let go, okay? So anything you're trying to run away and moving towards this, you should let that go. But what I mean by letting go is not trying to get rid of it. Letting go doesn't mean you're trying to get rid of it, okay? Letting go means that you're no longer being controlled or hijacked by that, okay? And it doesn't mean suppress, okay? Some people, I feel like a lot of people already know part of this already, but I should still kind of go over it, which is, it doesn't mean suppress what you feel, right? Because what ends up happening when you suppress something is whatever you're suppressing, it will always try to find its reason to express itself again. So whatever you're suppressing, it always come back up, and it usually is overwhelming because it always comes at a time where it's most inconvenient, okay? And we all experience that. Why does it have to happen to me now, right? Why? But if you stop suppressing certain things and you learn to let it go, you learn to bring it up to the surface, and you no longer let it run your life or hijack you, then then you know what? Whatever happened in the past, I get it. It's not. I'm not going to let that control my life. So, say for example, look, I don't have a lot of money back then, but then now I'm not working because I'm chasing money because I didn't have money back then. I'm working because I want to have a better future. Maybe you want a house, whatever it is. Maybe there's certain things that you want to get for yourself. Why? Because that makes you happier or whatever. Then you're driven by this inspiration of, you're not running away from something, you're moving towards something that you want. Okay. So like that's why I asked that major question earlier, which is, if you have everything that you already got, will you still continue doing the things that got you there? Okay. Like what you said about family life. Okay. True. I suppress a lot of things, and sometimes it comes back and it sucks. And like I said, it always comes back in the most inconvenient time, right? It feels like, and it feels inconvenient because it's so overwhelming. Right? And the thing about suppressing emotions and suppressing certain things is it doesn't happen right away. It doesn't. And usually we place little value to it because it doesn't happen right away. So whatever you don't see is like, it's fine. Like, oh, these little white lies, it's fine. And then you catch yourself doing a bigger lie. But then you kind of like push that to the side, and then find out that you start lying to other people, then you start lying to yourself. And then you're like, oh shit, I didn't know I would get caught up in the situation. And now you're lying to yourself. You got nowhere else to run. You hate it, and everything is against you now, right? And that's why I was like, yo, you might feel overwhelmed. But I'm here to tell you that start letting those things go. Don't suppress it. Whatever you're feeling, feel it. Feel that moment. Feel that. Ask yourself quality questions. Why do I feel this way? Why? Is there something that I'm not doing? Is there something that I could be doing a little bit more so that you can find a solution out of that pit? Okay. Um. Let's see. And I think okay. So I have about 20 minutes. Well, so for sure I'm not gonna go over my time today. So thank God. All right. So let's talk about time, right? Which is you have to feel it in order for you to move on. Exactly. Because if you don't feel it, you're putting it in a back burner. You only kind of eventually you're going to find yourself looking back anyways, or it's going to come up to the surface, right? Um so I know I like to give a lot of examples, but hopefully those give you an idea of let's not put things in a back burner. Like whatever if it's conflict that you don't like, but you know by not talking or not expressing how you feel, it's going to eat you up alive. Like maybe there's something that your partner, your husband, wife, or whatever said to you and you disliked it. Holding that grudge isn't going to make your relationship any better. Not saying anything isn't going to make it any better. But also opening up and saying it, you're fearful of how he or she may respond or react towards that situation. But I'm here to tell you this. Usually it's not that bad. And if you have an idea of how they going to react anyways, then maybe you know what, you could phrase your words a little bit differently. But like I said, you have no control over how they feel or how they're going to react towards a situation. What you can do is how you give that whatever they're doing that meaning. And do you want to keep dealing with that BS sometimes? Or maybe they continue to work and become a better person. Most people don't. Okay, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Most people do not spend time on themselves. They don't. They find distractions. They go out, they party, they drink. I know people in their 40s and 50s, they still go out like they in their 20s. Okay, I'm like, yo, you're no longer 20 something years old. Stop going out there like that. Okay, what are you running away from? What are you running away from? How much do you know yourself? How much? Okay, I still don't know myself fully. Okay, but I'm willing to put in the time and effort to work on it because I want to be comfortable in my own skin, because I know that will translate to other people when I do go out with them. All right, let's see. Once it files fills up, is it fills up, burst out? Yep, exactly. Can tell you will regret it. It's the feeling for me. It's the feeling for me never been good at expressing them. Okay, so Darlene, I want to ask you this. What is it that you feel like you're not good at? What? Because some part of that is fear, right? A little bit. A little part of that is fear. What's holding you back? Because you say you're not good at it. Is it because you don't know how to muster up some words? Is it because of how they're going to respond? Because or do you not like confrontation? Like what is it? Really kind of narrow it down to that, to why you're not good at that. Because most of the time, it's not that you're not good at it. It's exhausting. Okay. What is it about that is exhausting? Because that person or you don't find a solution after, right? I know I'm diving deep. You're like, Mitchell, leave me alone. Talk to other people. No. Let me see, Tracy. Chevelin, I've been there myself too. I felt like that yesterday. And Tracy, it's funny. Most people, I felt a little part of that yesterday too, right? And it wasn't long ago when I felt that. I had an episode on this. I had a previous episode about being unmotivated. But yesterday felt a little bit different. I felt a little hopeless, and I had to kind of educate myself. I was like, am I feeling hopeless because I'm not where I want to be, or where I thought I would be? Am I setting myself an expectation? Because I know that for sure you got to think in terms of decades. And that was one thing that stood out to me the most was when my coach he was like, if you were in your 20s again, what will you tell yourself? And he was like, I would tell myself that got to think in terms of decades, because he had a story, and I'll keep it short. A lot of it, a lot of it, to be honest. Okay, a lot of what? But anyways, let's go back to the coach. He had a multi-million dollar business, and I forgot what age. I think he was what, 39 or something. I forget. Um, there was a time where he had multi-million dollar business. He had, he was all over the TV, the new, or not news, but TV sponsors, buying ads. People knew his face wherever he was at the time. Out of nowhere, he decided that he no longer wanted to be in that type of industry. So he left that industry. I think he was selling houses and stuff, and he left. And then he went, like, this was a very humbling experience. And he always talked about how if you're not humble, you will be humbled. Okay. So it was a humbling experience. He went back, he lived with his dad. He lived with his dad for I don't know how many months or a year or two, whatever. But he was sleeping in his dad's couch. From being a multi-millionaire to deciding that he wants to change his career path, to waiting tables at a bar, whatever, making drinks, and sleeping in his dad's couch. Like, can you? And then guess what happened? Most people was laughing at him. He already used up all his money doing ads, and he found out the hard way where things didn't work out the way he thought it would. He was like, in 2-3 years, I will be back up on my feet. It took way longer than that. And then, yeah, it's like that was that humbling experience of he had it all, and then he lost it. But then see, the thing was, like, most people would have given up by then, right? They're like, what's the point? I had all this. Now everyone's laughing at me. I'm never gonna. Of course, then you get stuck in that. You're not gonna be anywhere. But he continued. He got to where he wants to be. He got to his career that he wants to do, which is coaching, right? And on top of that, he's even more successful than he is now, doing the things that he loved doing. So, like, he found his purpose. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's exhausting. I've been there. Okay, a lot to be honest. I suppressed so much and holding everything in. I'm ready to burst myself. Yeah, it sucks. And yeah, and it sucks and lonely. I was the same. Okay, is it just me? Was yesterday just one of those shitty days? Cause look, it happened to me too, right? It really did, and that's why I was like, you know what? What was that feeling of hopelessness? But I had to remember. I was like, yo, I can't get stuck in this mindset. Okay, so we all have something in common. Because it's Monday. Is that why Taco Tuesday is so popular? Right? All right, let's see. A lot, to be honest. I've suppressed a lot, holding everything in. I'm ready to burst. Okay, yep, I know what. A lot of it do with fear. Yesterday was so bad for me. And Jolani, if you want to share that, that, you're welcome to share it. I literally all night woke up swollen eyes. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. But did it make you feel better? Did it make you feel better afterwards? Right? Letting some of that go. Letting some of that resistance go, right? And letting those emotions go. Bring it up to the surface, feeling it at that moment, letting it go. That's great. But you also have to remember that you have to take certain actions to get out of that. So I get it. Whatever you felt, it felt great letting that go. But if you don't do anything without action, massive action, it won't change, right? It won't change. Somewhat, right? Yeah, so that's why it's like it's so important to go back into, I don't feel like doing it now because I'd much rather let those tears out. Let it out. Do it. If you're a guy, you're watching this, and you gotta do that too, do it, okay? Do it on your own privacy, okay? Ain't nobody want to see a grown-ass man, like, burst out into tears, okay? And all that. Unless it's something tragic, okay? That's different. But if you're feeling your emotions, do it, do it. Hi, Tamara. Okay, me too. Yeah, so, so I knew it wasn't crazy, but also I was like, yesterday wasn't that great. It wasn't that great, but I knew that I had to start asking myself questions. What do you normally do? Yeah, I listen to music. Did you do all the things that you needed to do? Yeah, I did. And why do you still feel like shit? Well, it's because I think I'm thinking too much in the future. I'm thinking too much, and we're human. And I feel like you're if you don't feel like that sometimes, you're not human. Okay. Anyone that's like standing up on stage, like imagine I'm in this TED talk. Okay, I'll probably have to cut it very short if it was a TED talk and very specific. But I can't if I'm just there, right? I'm in this robe, okay? And I'm just, oh, all I know is happiness. Like, no, I don't, okay? You're going to have shitty days. It's how you deal with them and what kind of meaning that you give towards those days. Because because anyone that tells you that is a liar, okay? I don't you're telling me you never had a single bad day in your life ever since you found yourself. I've not met anyone that never had a bad day, okay? Never. Okay, now if you told me, hey, you know what? I'm having better days than I do have bad days, because even if I have bad days or bad times, I learn to readjust back into my center. And I find myself getting back to that place a lot quicker than I used to be. Why? Because I'm surrounded by things that I enjoy. I love doing things that I want to do. And even at my best, at wherever I'm at currently, it's I because of who I'm around, the things I get to do, I ask myself certain type of questions to kind of pull yourself out of that mindset of, oh, this is who you are now, you're a failure. And it's about getting not distracting yourself, but getting back to it eventually. Okay? So, it's kind of like being in an argument. Arguing isn't gonna fix it. Me proving you wrong, I'm still gonna lose anyway. So I'm just gonna go out, Kiki, buying that burrito. I'm coming back. Carne asadas. Okay. Yes, sour cream, please. Um, and I come back and I'd be like, hey, what happened earlier? You were talking about, I don't know, I'm making, when I come home and I throw my socks on the floor, I'm not saying that you're like a servant or anything. That's just what I like to do. If it bothers you and it makes you feel that way, I'll pick it up. I won't put socks over there or something else, so that you could come back to it and you find a solution. But a lot of people, they get away from it and they run away from it and they think that the problem is gone, and it's not. It will always come back up unless you run away from it and then you decide that you want to make a change. But it still requires action. That action is, I'm no longer gonna throw socks on the floor anymore. I'm gonna put it in this bin. Right now. See, here's another thing too, right? If that happens, then your boys will be like, oh, so now you're a bitch. You're a bitch. You just a bitch. You're just gonna let that girl tell you everything. It's like, no, it's a compromise. Now, if she's overstepping my boundaries, then I'm not gonna put up with that. Like, look, I could compromise. I don't need to throw socks on the floor, especially if it makes her feel uncomfortable, because she's not my servant. She's my wife, or she's my girlfriend, or whatever. But then if she thinks she could like keep getting away with certain things, like, hey, they're not a carne asadas. But you know what I mean? It's like, that's why you don't lose your shit. And people are so fearful of, you give an inch, you take the mile. That's why you're good at, you're here. You're going to spot those things. It's like, look, my kindness does not mean weakness. I'm willing to make compromises, but I'm not gonna put up with shit that is unreasonable, especially unreasonable demands. Like, one thing, you're talking about my socks being on the floor and I'm putting in a bin. Next thing you know, you can't hang out with the boys anymore. It's like, okay, now that's a little too far. No, I'm not gonna not hang out with the boys. Why? You better have a good explanation as to why. Yeah. So there's that. Let's see what was. Okay. Okay. Wait. Shevlin, you said to cry, it feels better, but you need to dig deep and ask yourself why. Yeah, you got to get yourself out of that situation. So massive action. What's what's crazy girls at Mitch my age? I'm thinking I'll surpass at what's crazy girls and at my age. I'm thinking I'll surpass all these depressions. Okay, Tracy was. You said worst part is I don't do anything wrong. It was my parents who pushed me to the edge. Jelani, I wish I can open up more to you, but I've gone through a lot that no one can imagine. And Jelani, whenever you decide that you want to share it, and you don't have to share it in a public platform, and you don't even have to share it at all. But if you do want to share it, whether it's a private message or a direct message or whatever, you know, just know that being able, knowing who to share it to, maybe you have a good friend, okay? And they're a good listener and they won't judge you. Whoever it is, as long as you're able to express it and find your a way of a solution towards it, it doesn't matter who it is, as long as you could trust them, then you wanna do that, okay? So it doesn't have to be here, but it is an option if you want to, Jelani. Chevlin, you said plus Kiki, ice cream too. I love ice cream, and I miss Jr. I'm gonna make her, yeah, cause Jr. love ice cream. Joe takes time, but you do, yeah. I feel you on that part too. Here for you, Jelani. My friend needs to use my laptop. I'll switch over to my phone. Okay. All right. So let me see if I can finish up this. I got lost in the conversation, which is it's good. It's good. I like this. It's more organic. It's more natural. But a few more things. When I want to talk about time, which is one of the most one of the basic ingredients of life, right? Something that you can never get back. We all have a limited amount of time, and how you plan on using it is it determines where you will go. Okay. And what I'm suggesting is, even though it sucks, the fear of I feel like I won't ever get out of this type of mindset, this whatever you have, like, oh, this has always been me, right? I encourage you to continue learning a little bit more about yourself. Maybe the problem doesn't get fixed 100%, but it at least alleviates a lot of the pain that you're dealing with by understanding yourself a little bit more. You know what I mean? But it's time. It's where you want to spend it. So spend it on yourself. Believe in yourself. Come from a place of courage. But if you haven't done anything, it's easy to fall victim of it will never work, and you get very you start self-sabotaging. You start telling yourself things like it never works because I know it's because I've done it 4 times and it never works. I'm telling you here, you might have to do it a few hundred times in order to get that maybe one really true success, what you call success, or whatever it is. Getting over an ex, right? Is it really time, or is it really asking yourself good quality questions, right? Like, so in my past, I was cheated on, and I was like, okay, maybe that person was a cheater. Okay, well, was there something I could have done that maybe made that person not cheat as quickly? Okay, weird question to ask. If they're gonna cheat, they're gonna cheat. But Mitchell, did you do anything? Did you not date her? Did you not court her? Did you not listen to her problems? Were you trying to fix her problems? And nothing I could have done would have made that whoever cheat. If they're gonna cheat, they're gonna do it. So, but then I was like, well, I don't want to ever really want to date, or I didn't want to date this type of person anymore, or whatever it is. And it's like, well, it's unfair for the next person or whoever that person is, because everyone's different. And if I want to learn to love, I have to be willing to fully trust. And if you don't trust, don't be in a relationship, because otherwise, who wants to be sleeping with one eye open just because you feel like you're lonely, so you're trying to fill that up, but you don't really trust your partner? It's like, then don't be in it. Then learn to love yourself first. So I had to learn. I had to dive deep into it. I have to really understand who I was, And so that's why, sharing each other's completeness is always a better choice, is a better option, because you're setting yourself up for, I don't need you, because I don't want anybody to need me. That's you're not my kid, right? It's different if you're my, that literally, if you are my baby, right? Versus, babe or whatever. But you see that you're not having someone that you need them to depend on. But anyways, let's let's move back to time. So that's where I spent it on. I spent it on, let's I every relationship that ever did not go the way I wanted, I always reflected back, like, could I have done anything different? Whether they would do it or not, can I still do something different so that I become a better person? Right? That's the only thing that I can do. I can't change who they are, but I could change how I do things. So maybe it wasn't all me, but what part of it could be mine that I could own up to, the accountability part, and taking the responsibility of changing that. And the more you do it, the better you will become at it. And it will just, yeah, it will breed more confidence and courage. So when I start learning things, and I start not only learning but applying the things that I've learned, I'm conditioning myself to believe my own thoughts. Like, hey Mitchell, if that goes with your values, you can align with it. And when you align with it well, you could do it. And if other people do not accept that, that is okay. I won't take it personal. I won't take it personal. Maybe they don't like me as much anymore. Okay. But whatever it is, can I have done something different? Okay. And if you don't know, maybe communicate that, right? So literally there's a never ending process of learning. 4 years already. And Darlene, I hope you're not running away from problems. Or maybe you don't want to put yourself out there, maybe because, like, what I'm saying is, like, you're not single because it's not a choice. You know what I mean? It's I mean, you're single because it's by choice, not because you're trying to run away somewhere to get to another place, right? I'm running away from not talking to people because I don't want to be hurt. So this is where you want to be. So not being in a relationship or whatever means that I won't be hurt, right? When deep down you wish you have someone great, or you wish, or maybe it could even be more deeper meaning to it. It's like, well, maybe I'm not where I really want to be, and that's why that person has not been, it's not in my life. And it could be because I'm disappointed in myself of not being where I want to be at the place where I thought I would be at this age or whatever it may be, right? So, like, really dive in deep into your thoughts, but don't let it hijack you, but find a solution out of that. Okay. But let's see, spending time, lose yourself in the things that you love. Okay. That's why it's like, if you have something that you love to do, you keep doing it, because that's what gives you joy, gives you happiness. Other people will see it. I gave the example of me dancing. People was like, dude, you always do the same dance. I'm like, yeah, because I don't want to use a treadmill. And this is all I know. And I learned a Taeyang dance from my friend. And so I keep doing that. Why? Because it still beats the hell out of being at a treadmill, because I get to move my feet a certain way, and it's fun, and I like it. I don't care who's watching. I'm still going to do it. So, like, fall in love with the things that you do, and do it so well that people can't take their eyes off of. Let's see. That's why I was single. Thank you, Darlene. I was single for 6 years. Then I thought I met a good guy a few months ago, and now I'm back not trusting anybody. Okay, so Jelani, if you were, that feeling of I don't want to open back up because I'm afraid of being hurt is a place of fear, right? Which only lasted 2 months, like you said. Whatever they did, there was nothing that you could have done, right? If they were a cheater or whatever, you could not have changed that. What you can change is your decision on that type of person that they were. Okay, were there some red flags? Were there some things that they did? Or maybe they were just so good at hiding it that you missed. Okay, so if it's your fault, can you own up to that fault? Okay, you were naive. Okay, when you say fault, it's like it got me thinking like you did something wrong, right? Was it like the fault of I should not have given him this chance, or is it my fault like I did something that caused him to do something else, which this is why I only lasted 2 months, right? Which led to I don't believe in love anymore because love don't exist anymore, right? Um, because if you operate from that place of I don't trust anyone anymore, no one's going to be willing to open up because it goes both ways, right? Okay, you shouldn't give him 3 chances. Okay, all right. So next time you know what's up, you be like, hey, you know what? One chance. This is people can make mistakes. You get one chance. You make this mistake, I'm communicating to you. Um, and if you violate that again, you're out, or I'm out. I don't need to block you. I know where the door is. I'll leave. It's okay. It's all right. All right. Let's see. So I want to date. Yeah, I asked myself what I want to date me, and it's a no for me. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny we could talk about that. We could laugh about it, right? But if you and that's great because you don't take life that serious, but you should also take what you do for yourself serious. Like how can you be that person that you will want to date yourself? You know what I mean? How can I be there first? And that way then you setting yourself up for a better future for yourself. I just feel all that time was wasted. Was it wasted, or is it something that it's the meaning that we give to it, right? So let's pull it back. The meaning that you gave to it was, I feel like this is time wasted. But also, you just learned that I should not give 3 chances to that same mistake, whatever that person did, right? And then also you still want to pre-screen people. You want to make sure like, hey, okay, you giving me these weird ass creeper like vibes that I don't want to. I just don't fuck with that. I don't fuck with these type of vibes anymore. I know the type of people. I'm just yeah. Um, but it's the meaning. It's the meaning that you give to the circumstances, Jelani. Okay. But I do appreciate it. I appreciate you, kind of opening up and sharing some of what you're owning up to. At least that's what I'm getting. That's where I feel like that's where it's leading to. Um, and that's all it is. What I teach is self-reliance. At the end of the day, what could you have done that's better? What can you do to become better for yourself? Um, maybe it's the choice of the people I surround myself with. Okay, maybe I made a wrong choice, but I'm not gonna kick my ass for giving those three chances because I was naive. I'm not gonna kick my ass for it. Yes, sucked. It's a bad feeling, but it's experience, and you experience something that that if you put your hand there is gonna get burned, right? So you know it better than anybody else. Because I don't know what kind of chances that you give to this person that you gave it to. And yeah, so it's like it firsthand. But don't let that hijack you from truly knowing what you want. Because, everybody wants love and connection. That's a basic human need. Love and connection. Variety, right? And once those are fulfilled, we are naturally in a much better place and we become better company for people. And it's always about how you can get back to that place or that state of being genuinely who you are without having to put up this front for me in each relationship. Okay, so if that is, what is the common denominator, right? If it's happening to every relationship that you are in, and I'm not sure how many that you've been in, but if that's a common denominator, we got to follow those trail whys. Following that why will allow you to at least see what has been put it to light. What have you been doing so consistent that it's been always giving you those results, right? If you want new results, you gotta have new action. Okay, I misplaced it. If you want new results, you gotta have new action, right? New action. But if you don't want to do it, if you don't even want to do it because you're like, love sucks, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm gonna get hurt. you're gonna get stuck here and you're never gonna move towards that, right? And if you want to be single and that's by choice and you're okay with that, then by all means mean that. But if you really truly want someone to really love you and you want to share that type of love with that person, you got to be willing to do it first. And by not saying I don't want to give love a chance anymore, because once you say that, you're limiting everything. There you set up this wall. No one's gonna pass through it, right? And it's about, yes, it's knowing that it's this whole love talk, right? It's not about not getting hurt. And I feel like in any relationship, everybody gets a little bit hurt sometimes. But it's knowing that you could get yourself out of that situation. Knowing that, hey, you know what? I have that emotional resilience, that capacity to pull myself out of that situation because I've experienced it before. I just don't want to keep making the same mistakes. And if I am, you're allowing yourself many chances. You know what I mean? Okay. You're working on yourself, yeah. And we always, it's it's great and it's good because we're constantly becoming, as long as you're here. And I do you know why I know it is freaking difficult is because look, I know Shevelin has been here since day one. Shevelin has been here since, well, not day one, but when she was here, she's always been consistent and she always wanted to become more, right? And look, every single time I do this once a week or twice a week, and it's at least an hour long, like just remember that like most people would much rather do something else by not spending time on themselves. When you're here, I want you to spend a on yourself and reflect on the things that, can I relate to this? Are these questions that relate to me too as well? And can I become a better person from this? And if I can, that's great. If it doesn't relate to you, you don't have to watch it. But if it's something, if it hits a certain part of you and you want to become a better person because of that, then do it. Do it for yourself, right? Everything that you do here is for you, and I just want to make sure that it's for you. And you're also helping me a lot too, because I don't think anybody wants to talk to a screen where it says 0 on the top. But I have done that plenty of times in the past, and I still liked it because I saw it as, hey, look, this is good practice. It's good practice, Mitchell. Just keep practicing, right? Let's see. I learned a lot. I become a new me now. Yeah, that's great. And it's been over a year, right? And I don't take it lightly. I was like, yo, she's graduating and she's still on the phone, on the live. I was like, yo, it's your graduation. Spend time on your graduation. No, I just want to say what's up. Thank you, chef. Yeah, we got this, and we reflect on ourselves. We can do this, exactly, right? And that's what I like about this. It's like this is like an NFL locker room. It's like an NFL locker room, even though it feels like I'm the only guy in there. It feels, anyways, it's an NFL locker room. Everyone's there to support each other. You know what I mean? We're all here to support each other. There's always going to be other noises out there. Someone's gonna be telling you suck. They're gonna be rooting for a different team. A lot of this is like it would never stop. The bullshit never ends. It's just knowing that you have a good support system, but also you don't depend on the support to lift you up. It's knowing that I could get out of myself in that situation that I'm in because I've been in this situation before. You know what I mean? Funny thing was, I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go over. I'm not gonna go over time, and I did, and I did. I lied a little bit, but it was worth it. It was worth it. You guys are worth it. That's definitely insanity. Doing the same thing, thinking to get different results. Exactly, right? This really helps. I feel a little sane now. Thank you guys. Of course, Tracy. I'm very thankful to Mitchell for who I became compared before. I'm still in process. I'm still in a process of still trying to like understand myself a little bit more. And I feel like I say this to JR, and thank you, Shevlin. But I say this to JR. I sometimes I call him. I'm like, yo, my mind just exploded, man. He's like that. And I'm like, yeah, like that. And I'm like, dude, I just have this thing, and it's great because I was like, yo, I get to share with you no matter how far you are. You know what I mean? And one thing that really touched me was the fact that you know, wherever he went, he never stopped becoming that person that he was. And I think, you know, when you finally truly find yourself into the person that you want to be, and no one could take that away from you, that's when it starts bothering them, right? And what I mean by that is like, if I stopped the moment people was like, "Oh, who do you think you are?" Blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, I like doing this. You're not gonna stop. I don't think I'm hurting anybody. If anything, I'm helping people, and that's what I want to do, and that's what I enjoy. If you don't want to be in this locker room, that's okay. That's okay. It's okay. But you know, there's going, and you know what? It was, I was there. I was there. I was quiet, and I started with Justin too. I know a lot of the newer people over here, they don't know who Justin is, but that's where I started. You know, started doing this during pandemic, um, and you know, it kind of evolved. And I can't wait to explore a little bit more when I have like my actual setup and I have like lights and I have a different camera, so I won't be like this anymore. You know, I'll be like this. This is Mitchell's locker room. Yeah, you know, it's an NFL locker room. But like I said, I was like, yo, I'm the only guy in here. All right, y'all change. Go ahead, do what you gotta do. You know what? Matter of fact, don't change. Let me just get out. Let me buy a hot dog or something. Let me go get a hot dog. Okay, it's probably not good before the game, but Mitchell don't want to get caught up in certain situations. But yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you, Jolani. Appreciate you sharing, because like sharing things like this, I know it's not easy, right? Even if, however vague or whatever, hot dogs do sound good, but I'm gonna resist. But what I do persists, right? Whatever you resist persists. But I know I gave myself a time. Weekends, I'll eat the hell I want. Right now, nope. Mitchell, you better get those mushrooms, and not those two mushrooms, but you know, Costco, those mushrooms, some plants. Just eat those, right? Get that fountain of youth. Live that happy life. You know, bullshit never stops, but circumstances will always come. How you give meaning to it is what really matters. So I know, I don't do drugs, so whoever I align with can't do drugs. That's just me. Those are my values. Don't smoke. I don't like smoking. And if you want to smoke, that's okay. You know, that's you. I'm not gonna stop you, right? That's why changing people usually leads to resentment, right? Leads to resentment. I don't change people. I allow them. Hey, do you want? I come over here. Yeah. I talk about relationships. Oh, your relationship is perfect. That's fine. Then you don't have to be here. Then it's all good. It's all good. And then, hey, you know what? If you have the secret, by all means, keep doing you. Maintain that relationship. But if it doesn't, maybe I could help you out. Maybe, just maybe. But anyways, thank you all for giving me your time. Jolani, you know, you sharing all this, I really appreciate it. To some of the new people that came in here too, thank you. And people that keep coming in here, much love. Thank you very much. Today's Tuesday. Okay, so I got a little extra day to talk about, to think about my next topic that I want to share with you guys too as well. So I'll see you guys on Saturday if you guys have time. But yeah, until then, take care of yourself. Stay motivated. Stay happy. Do something that you love. You know, that's the only way that you want to live, because life is short and you're not guaranteed tomorrow. So yeah, thank you. All right. Thank you, Shevlin. Thank you, Jelani, Darlene, Tracy. Thank you. All right. Have a good night, guys. Bye. And Tamara.